The paintings lied to you. They show medieval queens glowing in candlelight, flawless skin, perfect gowns, everything soft and elegant. But here's the truth. If you actually stepped into the year 1350, the first thing you'd notice wouldn't be beauty. It would be the smell. No amount of gold or perfume could hide it, because behind those perfect portraits was a reality nobody talks about. A world where queens wore the same gowns for weeks, rarely bathed, and sometimes carried something shocking beneath their dresses. And this is the part most people never hear. Some queens used a chamber pot under their gown, not as an emergency, as part of daily life. We've all been sold this fantasy, queens living in comfort and luxury. But here's something crazy. Royalty didn't escape hardship. In many ways, it made things worse. A queen in medieval Europe lived in heavy clothing, limited hygiene, and constant discomfort. Outer gowns couldn't be washed. They were too expensive and delicate. So they were worn again and again, sometimes for weeks. Hair wasn't regularly cleaned. Lice? Completely normal. Skin stayed covered all day, leading to sweat, irritation, even rashes. And perfume? It helped, but it didn't fix the problem. Now imagine waking up as a queen in 1350. Your room isn't warm, it's cold stone. Your breath is visible in the air. This was during the Little Ice Age. Winters were harsh. Your bed curtains weren't decoration, they were survival, trapping what little warmth you had. And you weren't alone. Servants slept in the same room. Privacy didn't exist. When you step out of bed, your feet hit freezing stone. Now your morning routine begins. A servant brings a basin of water. Cold water. You wash your face and hands. That's it. Full bathing? Rare. People believed hot water could make you sick. So instead of bathing, you just change your linen. That was considered clean. Now comes the transformation. Dressing a queen could take an hour. Layer by layer, linen, fitted garments, then the heavy gown. By the end, you're not just dressed, you're restricted. Breathing feels tighter, movement becomes harder. Then your hair is styled, braided, pinned, covered. And here's the part movies never show. That hair isn't freshly washed, and lice? Still completely normal, even for a queen. Now this is where everything changes. You're dressed, powerful, surrounded by people, but your body still has needs. Castles had latrines, but they weren't always nearby, and getting there in layers of tight clothing wasn't easy. So instead, you used a chamber pot, a small container hidden under your dress. Servants would assist, lifting layers for privacy. Quick, efficient, because it had to be. Afterwards, it was taken away and emptied, sometimes properly, sometimes not. And imagine this in summer, the heat, the enclosed stone spaces. The smell didn't just disappear, it stayed. But you didn't react, because you were the queen, and composure was everything. By midday, you step into your role, and this is important. A queen wasn't just decorative. She managed estates, influenced politics, arranged alliances,
Sometimes she even ruled. You sat in halls filled with people watching your every move. Despite the cold, despite the discomfort, you stayed composed, because royalty was performance, and you were always on display. At meals, the hall was crowded. Food looked rich, but wasn't always fresh. Spices were used to hide spoilage. You ate with your hands, shared cups, sat above everyone, being watched. And around you, dogs, smoke, sweat, straw-covered floors, and still you smiled. Under all that beauty, your body paid the price. Layers trapped heat, fabric rubbed your skin, rashes formed. But you couldn't react, you couldn't scratch, you couldn't adjust. Everything required control. And illness? Always a risk. This was a world afraid of disease, but without the knowledge to stop it. So you lived in constant exposure and still carried on. So here's the truth. Medieval queens weren't living in fairy tales. They were living in endurance. Behind every perfect painting was a woman dealing with cold, discomfort, and a lack of basic hygiene, while still holding power over kingdoms. And that's what makes it remarkable, because power didn't exist in comfort, it existed despite the lack of it. So the next time you see a perfect queen in a movie, remember what's hidden beneath the gown, because history isn't less impressive when it's less clean, it's more human.